Coming in hot. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Feels like a Monday morning, but of course it's Wednesday.
Hump day.
Hump day. You know what day it is? You was right. All right, y'all. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There it is. We got Pops in the house. What's going on, Pops?
Hey.
Good Wednesday morning, First Sky crew and fam. Mad love from Las Vegas. What's up? How's the weather out there?
Good.
It's getting a little chilly around here. A little chilly. Break out the big coat.
Especially at night.
Man.
Went out to Vegas. A lot of homelessness, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
Especially the West Coast, because that's where it's halfway warm. And you know, you can be outside a little longer.
Right.
Hey, shout out to the 630 crew. Just got a word from Beth that she likes the mix. I appreciate that so much.
Hey.
I love doing that little 630 mix for y'all over there. On the radio channel, FirstSkyOmaha.com. Hit the listen button 24/7. Celebration of black music. And of course, it's a celebration. And of course, morning show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, yeah. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And also, if you have Alexa, you can do that. Hey, Alexa, play First Sky Omaha Radio.
In the morning.
You are now getting down with First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Yeah.
We gotta try to figure out how to get Alexa to sing the little hook.
Yeah. Get down with the jingle.
What's going on, y'all? Yeah, Pop said chilly here too, like in the 60s at night. Yep.
Okay. Is that chilly?
It's West Coast winter, baby.
60s?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I think it was like 55 here the other day. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So brisk.
It's about 34 right now. So
the
heat is on.
Yeah. Stay warm out there, y'all. I guess no hayride rides for you, huh?
Man, whoo. Telling you. Hey, Josh Texas, good morning. Good morning, all. Hope you're feeling better, Paul. Thank you very much. Got a good morning from Amy Hutfless. Good morning to you too. Yeah, I made the mistake of getting all 3 vaccines at the same time the other day.
Piled up on you.
Wasn't good. It was not anything nice.
And the changing of the seasons, I'm sure when you have like allergy issues and sinus issues, that it's always a mother.
Very true. Very true. Thanks for coming on through. But I said it's all relative. Yeah. Yes. So that cold weather. What cold weather, man? I don't know. Like I said,
I don't know, man.
60s is a West Coast winter, bro. For real.
I get it a lot, man. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was like, man, it's kind of cold out here. He was like, cold? You from Nebraska, man. What you talking? Hey, cold is cold.
Cold is cold is cold.
Man.
And I'm already cold. So let's see what the rest of the people talking about. Mark Manners says, good morning. About to get in this cool air. It's cool for Mark Manners.
See, it's cool. Relative.
It's all relative. In the bike lane, that's what's up, man. He says, good to see you last night. Yeah, good to run into you last night too, bro. That's what's up. We were out and about for Opera Omaha.
Okay.
Opera Omaha did an opera in conversation over at the Benson Theater last night. And it was dope, man. It was they brought in the members of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation to speak. So Joanna LaFleur, Leo Lewis, Brother Muhammad was on the board, on the table.
Jeez.
Yeah, man. So it was a good night, and I really like what they're doing. I can't wait to see this opera about Malcolm's life, something else. So definitely, man, don't sleep on that. You definitely got to go check that out. There's a lot that's going on in this past, few days, few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I guess you can say. Let us know about all the things that you went to, if you went to any of those. Nightshade, Dewan's party over there at Starlight. There's been a bunch of stuff going on. They did a tree planting over there at Fabric Lab on the trail.
Okay.
So yeah, a few things that went down last weekend. If you went to any of them, let us know. Love to hear about it.
Definitely. Yeah, I guess it's been kind of 5 days since we last spoke to the peoples.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it feels like an eternity when we skip a day. It's a trek.
Man. So definitely glad to be back. Hopefully you are feeling better, Paul B.
Feeling a lot better. I appreciate it.
Man, that's good.
Valentine gives us a good morning as well, and Brooke Allen gives us a good morning. What's happening to y'all? Thank you for tuning in early this morning, Wednesday, October 26th, 2022.
2D2.
End of the year is coming, bro.
Man, quickly approaching. I mean, once we get to Halloween and the holiday season, this is basically over. You know, you got Halloween, got 2 more weeks, and then it's Thanksgiving. Got 2 more weeks, then it's Christmas. Another 2 weeks, and it's over. That's all she wrote. And therefore that's 2022, man. Went by very quickly. Hopefully everybody, had a good year. As we begin to reflect, let me know what you went into or got into over the weekend. Definitely. I'm good. I'm glad to see all the Malcolm X stuff, man. It seems like it's more than just the Hall of Fame induction. Like the city is responding, and I'm glad to see really the state. I mean, you got the state prisons bringing in the books. Of course, you got this Malcolm X situation that's going on. A lot more people, it seems like a lot of people are still going by the Malcolm X Foundation, getting tours and stuff. I saw Sister Mika posting about she gave the opera cast a tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, big time. And then if you go to Opera Omaha, you get to see the video that that Opera Omaha took, which was pretty fly. To check out the grounds and stuff like that. So yeah, and then of course don't forget about the Hall of Fame. Malcolm X getting inducted there. So lots of attraction this year for sure.
Yeah. I'm just glad to see it. That's all. Because when we first got the news, it was almost like, okay, and then what? You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, is this another performative thing, or is Malcolm X really gonna get the flowers that he deserves around here, man? We need a Malcolm X Elementary. We need, but I'll take what we could get.
We can do.
Right.
Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out to Kimara Snipes, who's already on. Good morning, y'all. Hope you're feeling better, Paul. Appreciate that. Feeling a little bit better for sure. Can't wait to talk to you a little later in the show for sure. We got Precious McKesson, Politicin with P coming, so stay tuned for that. And also, what's good in the hood with Kimara Snipes. Lots to talk about because we got the election that's coming up literally 2 weeks away.
Man.
And so there's a lot to talk about, a lot happening in between everything. But again, if you've been out and about, let us know how the weekend went. It was a pretty heavy weekend as far as activity was concerned. Mark Manor says, I did the Benson brunch and felt like I was in a whole other city. We need more of that. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Messengix played. We had a brunch from JoJo's Diner. So yeah, man. I'm sorry I missed that. I wasn't feeling well because I was sure looking forward to that. But appreciate you showing up to that, Mark Manor. And I love the review of that. That's what me. That's what I'm trying to do. Make it feel like another city around here sometime.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're trying to do, man. Just take you to another place, man. Just mentally take you to another place. So yeah, I'm glad the partners are able to come together and make some things happen. Mason Jix is always a good time, adding some food and some good energy, some beautiful art, shout out. What was the artist? Was it Josh Artist who did
Artist, man.
Yeah, man. I definitely I'm still planning on checking out the theater just for some of the art deco, that's around, man. It's a good look. So big shout out to the fam over there at the Benson Theater.
That's what's up. Good morning to Wanda Lewis. Good morning to you. Appreciate you. Michelle Moreno says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you as well. Vicky Young gives us a good morning with some sunshine. I hope it does get sunshiny today because it sure is cold right now.
Man, those days are gone, man. This is Omaha, Nebraska.
You never know, bro. Omaha might surprise you with another 90 degree day like it did last week.
Yeah, in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. At any rate, definitely take care of yourselves out there, especially if you're gonna be out there on the highways and the byways. A lot of cuckoos. Omaha is still the worst drivers in the country. So yeah. Let's drive safely. But again, thank you for tuning in with us here on this Hump Day edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning. We do have a nice show prepared for you, as my man Paul B had mentioned. We do have a couple guests expected to come through one of them already in the chat with us. Sister Kimara Snipes, a big shout out to you. Good morning. Also expecting Precious McKesson, Politicin with P, history making P, as we like to call her. Put some respect on her name. Looking forward to that conversation. As Paul also mentioned, we are just a few weeks away from election day, man. The clock is ticking. Maybe drop a line in our chat. Let us know. Have you voted already? Have you sent in your early ballot? Have you gone in person to the election office to do your duty? Let us know, and also let us know what your experience was like. Definitely would like to hear that. Of course, we will have some information for those of you still planning to vote. They move polling places and precincts and locations and things like that. So yeah, let's try to avoid the confusion and spread the information. That's what we're here to do, man. So speaking of that, we do have a lot to talk about. Definitely want to dive into, of course, this Creighton situation. Creighton chiming up. We've kind of been talking about Kanye a little bit, but now it's very interesting that Creighton is chiming up, making it breaking news, headline news. So yeah, we'll dive into.
Why is this news?
Man, why? Creighton?
They're trying to jump in on the Kanye headline. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. And a few people have posted up in Friends of. Big shout out to everybody posting stories in Friends of and continuing the conversations in Friends of First Sky Omaha on Facebook. A few people chiming up saying that they're surprised that all of this backlash didn't happen when Kanye said some other things. So yeah, definitely looking forward to jumping into that conversation. Speaking of backlash, it looks like the Ben Sasse Florida University situation hasn't ended. There is a protest ban at Florida University after the Sasse rally. Again, 300 plus students protesting against the selection of Nebraska Rep Ben Sasse to be the president of Florida University. And now the faculty themselves are holding a no confidence vote in the selection process. So again, what does that mean for the domino effect of Nebraska politics? Again, if Sasse does go into this University of Florida position, there are a few seats and musical chairs, if you will, that will move around in Nebraska politics. So we'll definitely look at the implications for that. Now, also speaking of politics, why are the police supporting education board positions? We'll look into that. Again, it's a lot of interesting battles and a lot of interest and energy being put into our Board of Education races. So we'll definitely look into that, what's going on with our children, what's going on with education. And it just kind of dawned on me, also take in consideration again that the sheriff's department will be overseeing this youth facility. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting conversation. Again, let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. This is a conversation platform. Big shout out to all the chat chimers and even the ghost listeners. We love you. We appreciate you all the same for tuning in. Make sure you, even if you don't jump into the chat, continue the conversation with your loved ones, with your friends. Again, this is a conversation platform for us to get down to the nitty gritty, figure out what's going on in our city, and keep it moving. So with that, let's go ahead and keep it moving. Get this show on the road. Paul Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Let's go.
Buddy got bars. What up? Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers, all of you, the ghost listeners, everybody who is joining in on this conversation. Thank you so much for getting up and doing that with us early this morning. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show. I see a whole lot of people on YouTube this morning too, so really appreciate that for being on YouTube. Tell a friend, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Lucia Rodriguez gives us a buenos dias. Good morning to you. I appreciate you. My favorite. Hey. Linda in Chicago says, morning all. Happy middle of the week. Feels like a Monday to me, Linda, because we just started the week. But yes, we do recognize it is middle of the week. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. Ariel's 402 on YouTube is saying, This one is for North Omaha, Nebraska. Come on, raise up, take your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter.
Hey,
Getting us riled up for the day. We appreciate that. Linda in Chicago says, dropping my ballot off at the box today. Getting her ballot in the box. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Ghost Listener 402 says, voted easily, trouble finding information, too many people running with no promo.
Interesting point.
Very interesting point. We'll have to talk about that. Also, what's Kimara talking about? Kimara, you fat fingers some stuff over here.
Oops.
I'm oops. Waterloo says school to prison pipeline. Yes. Interesting that the Omaha what is the police union chiming up today. We'll definitely talk about that coming up. Also, they got to fill up these new juvenile centers. Interesting stuff. Anthony Hart gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you joining us today. Lots to talk about today on this Wednesday, October 26th. It's coming up. We got like 2 weeks till election. That's really what is on everybody's mind and hearts and everything. I had a really interesting conversation with a person who is very active in politics, active in restorative justice, active in a whole bunch of areas, and is really skeptical about voting because because of the way things are presented. It was a very valid point. You just don't know. I know that I didn't know nothing until we were talking about it here, till we put this together and then started having some regular conversations about it. So I feel that. I feel what was said to me in a big way. But I also have because we've been doing this, been figuring out exactly how it can get done, and that it's not as big of a thing as as we have made it out to be sometimes because we have to sift through all the confusion and all the misinformation and all the everything, and then then you get a lot of people who are putting a lot of dollars behind their campaigns, and like Ghost Listener here said, some people didn't put any dollars behind the campaign. They didn't have any exposure enough, so they're on the ballot. You don't know who they are, what they do, what's going on. So I went and got the reader guide, and the reader has the whole breakdown inside of it. What's the Women's Center? What's the organization?
League of Women Voters.
League of Women Voters has a guide, and the reader put that guide inside their newest reader magazine, the whole guide. So I sat down at lunch one day thinking I'm gonna just go ahead and start doing digging in, and it really only took me about 10 minutes because I already knew who Carol Blood was. I already knew who, you know what I'm saying, like the one part that I did get hung up on was the judges. Got to go and figure out how to do some research on the judges. But everybody else we have been talking about, we've been introducing people to, they've been on the show. Their opponents have declined being on the show. Their opponents have been in the news pretty heavy, though, in our conversation, pretty heavy. So it's really interesting what's happening. So I'm gonna take that person that I talked to and sit down, and we'll go through the guide, and take 10 minutes to go through the guide, and then maybe get down to the spot early together. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the kind of efforts I'm seeing individually we need to make in order to really kind of help people get down and get down to what's happening here. Get down to putting in some change in the works.
I think that's Sister Kimara. She correct me if I'm wrong, sis, but I think she called it relational organizing.
Yes, this is something that we have been I've been digging into a little bit ever since she said that and sent some information over on it. So yeah, relational organizing. This is, you start one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? You really kind of push some things. We'll talk about it some more when she gets on. But yeah, that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
I mean, you think about it, you talked about the bag, if you will, and the amount of people who do put, millions and millions of dollars and do promote their campaign. And then you kind of have the people's people, you know what I mean? The candidates who really are for the people who might not have access to that type of capital. How do they combat that? How do they, and I've been saying it the whole time, like, and I didn't necessarily call it relational organizing, but I understand that word of mouth is the best promotion that there is, that you really can't pay for, no matter how much money you try to pay for anything. Just a friend freely talking to another friend, like, hey, this is important, this is what's interesting, this is how this impacts you, just trust me, I'm your friend. That goes a lot longer than seeing some smear campaign on the radio or on TV. So yeah, we just got to speak up and ask questions. And as I always say, conversation rules the nation. That's why we're here.
That's right. I really feel like it's not an accident that people say that it's rude to talk about politics and religion.
Man.
Kind of, that's interesting that you don't want us talking about either one of those. Interesting that became rude in this society. That's really interesting.
What was it, Dave Chappelle? The old comedy stand up. He's like, hey, I'm trying to. You ever ask a white guy about who he voted for? But yeah, who'd you vote for? It's like, whoa, I'm trying to tell you about sleeping with my wife, and you're asking me about who I voted for. Whoa. It's like,
slow down, buddy.
Tell you everything personal, but ask them who they voted for.
And money. While we're at it, it's follow the money season. So don't talk about how much somebody's getting paid or money or how to deal with your finances either. Money, politics, and religion are off limits conversations in this country. So the next show we're going to put out is going to be called Politics, Religion, and Money. So there you go.
I like that.
We got Ghost Lizard 402 says college boards threw me off. Yeah, that was another one. I didn't really know who was running for the college boards. Although I'll be honest, I didn't put that much clout in. I didn't care too much about it because it doesn't affect my life so much.
Yeah.
But and I knew a couple names just because I used to work at Metro. So I've seen people who've run in the past. But yeah, there's some things you can throw you off if you don't do the research for sure. Also, Kimara Snipes says, yes, relational organizing. Yes. We'll talk more about that when you get on. She says, all right, buddy, I've read a lot of reports from major institutes and organizations that have basically stated information we've known in the marginalized communities that we have lived in forever. Yeah, they'd love to do a study and pull some things out that we could have told them if they'd have sat down with us for 5 minutes. People that are living in it. So
yeah,
very true. With that said, off to a good start with a lot of this great conversation. Thank you for everybody who's joining into the chat right now. Again, let us know how your weekend went. If you went to any of these events and rallies and things that happened over this last weekend or week, and what's coming up this weekend, this week that's in the next 2 weeks, really, where we're looking at what's going on and just trying to keep the focus on the important things right now, which is getting people in seats, getting some people out of seats, and all that good stuff. And let's figure out how we can help each other do all that. But in the meantime, there's some things that we definitely need to talk about before we get our guests on. So, buddy, hand it over to you. What's on the agenda?
Yes, sir. We'll start with some good news, man. As you mentioned, it is about following the bag this season. So although it is still election season and we are still carrying our ballot or the bullet energy, if you will, it still is follow the bag. So in addition to getting the right people in seats, we want to, get people to the bag and celebrate those who are getting to the bag. So big shout out to Code Black. It's good news. It's good news. Shout out to brother David Pollock for dropping this in the Friends of First Sky page. Says we're truly excited about the partnership and opportunity with Omaha Community Foundation. Says we're excited to receive a $10,000 grant from the Omaha Community Foundation to help launch our new software quality assurance analyst career training track early next year. This program is 3 courses over 24 weeks, which will equip students with the knowledge and skills required to succeed as an entry-level software tester at any size organization. For more information about the software quality assurance career track, or Code Black Tech, contact info@codeblackinc.com. Again, that's info@codeblackinc.com. And of course, we're talking about always here on the show, poverty, how to combat poverty, how to get out of poverty. And I'm all for coding, all for especially people in the minority community, the Black, brown communities, if you will, to get into coding, man. This is definitely a fast track to get out of poverty. And this is something that you can go through a 24-week training and then get to the Googles, get to the Facebooks, get to the LinkedIns as a software analyst, and not have $100,000 in student loan debts, which we'll get into a little later on. But again, just wanted to start off with some good news. Shout out to brother David Pollock, again, founder of Code Black. If you have any youths, anyone interested in this, definitely check it out. Again, that's info@codeblackinc.com, or you can just check them out at codeblackinc.com. or excuse me, coblacktech.com.
There you go. I saw an article recently where the people who do coding in that field, we're talking about the field. They were saying that coding is actually kind of going away. Is not the premier tech job. These other tech jobs out there, and some of the tech jobs that they named were stuff that is built on coding, and it had me wondering. I wonder why they're pushing these other kinds of jobs. They're saying bypass. They're saying a little bit like bypass coding and just jump right to whatever the tech job is that's built on top of coding. And so I went back and started looking at a bunch of black businesses, of black schools and things, and where these black leaders who are putting these kinds of cold black situations together are saying, and they're still saying coding. And I
Mhm.
trust I trust what they say more. You learning coding is still the power move because there's nothing that can be built on top of. You have to have coding to build any kind of app, any kind of anything on top of that. You got to know how the thing runs in the first place. So I felt like it might be a little bit of a push where they're trying to get they see all these black businesses coming up, and they're trying to push people away from the power part of the tech world
I can
a
definitely
little
see,
bit. Yeah,
you see that.
yeah, yeah. But like I said, I trust the leaders that are in the game, putting all these grassroots schools and things together for young black kids to be able to learn how to do things like code,
Mhm.
and I'm definitely all for it as well.
Yeah, again, I got my little man into a coding program down here just
Already,
recently.
huh?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And they're using like Roblox, what was the other one? Minecraft, but they're not like playing the actual game part. There's like creator suites that they have that you can
Uh,
go in and create your own world and things like that. And they're kind of introducing the coding side of that to the youth. But man, like I got friends, that I went to high school with that dropped out of college and was kind of like, I don't know where I'm going, and went to a 24-week coding program, and now they're making six figures a year living in Colorado, driving nice cars and things like that. So
mm,
it really is again kind of a cheat code, if you ask me. Like, this is definitely like I said, a way for our people to get out of poverty, and again to kind of skip the steps of college debt and the barriers of college that a lot of us face.
yeah.
So
Very,
yeah,
very interesting stuff.
big
Let
big
us.
shout out to David.
Sorry, go ahead.
Big shout out to David Pollock, who's the founder of this tech company.
Right on. Jumping in the chat real quick. Kimara Snipes says, well, first of all, Linda in Chicago says Carol Blood doesn't have near the money her opponent does. She has done an excellent job posting interviews. She's done along with her opponent's responses. There are videos and reading material. Yeah, I think Carol Blood is definitely putting her best foot forward, and in my eyes, it's hurt her opponent to not debate her.
Oh yeah.
She's been able to use the fact that he's refuses to debate, and just is acting like he's just gonna get this handed to him to her advantage. Calling people out. Cameron Snipes says, let's talk about Creighton deciding not to play any music from Kanye West. Meanwhile, their student staff still lack representation. Uh,
Mm.
we keep on getting closer and closer to having to talk about Kanye. And today is one of the first days that we kind of got to ask this question. We said this in the intro that we were going to ask this question. Why is this breaking news? Why has Channel 7 made such a big post? Kanye's been in the headlines for the past week everywhere, in
Man,
the mainstream headlines everywhere, and it's almost like Creighton is trying to jump in here and get a little headline action as well. I don't know. It's real suspect when I saw that. And just in general, and there's more to talk about with this, I believe, and I think that we're
oh yeah.
probably gonna have to jump into that at some point. Also, let's see. Wanda Lewis, so you guys are having some conversations in here that's looking pretty good. We'll have to go back and check that out. Kimber Snipes says, I went on a tour of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation last week with my girl Shamika. It was amazing. So that's what's up. They got some tours going back on. I saw Shamika down there doing it too. She gave the Opera Omaha people some tours, and they filmed that.
Yep.
Great film. Go to operaomaha.org. Check those films out. She says, if you take the book tour, take the if you take a tour book, it I'm not sure what you're saying there.
She said book the tour with her, like have
Oh,
Shamika be your tour guide.
oh, book it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Also, Wanda Lewis says it's okay to invite the political figures to talk about LB 1024 though. That's an interesting comment too. I haven't. we haven't had much conversation with political figures about 1024. We've been talking about it amongst ourselves. Just That's a good thought. Good thought. Well, going forward this next 2 weeks, we're definitely getting calls from people. Dave Pontos wants to come back on. We're getting calls from people that want to come on and talk talk to our chat chimers about their run. And let's bring some. We're going to bring some on, and we'll formulate some new questions. Let's definitely formulate some good questions for them before we get out of here on before the 2 weeks are up. Also, Kimara says, "Go ahead."
I do want to go back in the chat to that Wanda Lewis comment that you're responding to, because I think there's a piece that you missed. Earlier, she says, I don't understand why all these nonprofits are supposed to avoid politics at their buildings. However, they're always in the political arena. And then she went on to say, down low lobbyists. It's okay to invite political figures to talk, though.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, wrapping that up. That's you're absolutely right about that. Like, I feel that way too. I feel like it's so weird how they try to avoid they have to be in certain settings to have certain conversations. And it's all, it's really like they want to avoid the candidness of just talking about the issues or talking about where they stand on stuff. They want to, they're always prepared for some kind of fight, or what I'm saying? Like it's always contrived, and it's never just a actual conversation. So yeah, I agree with you very much so, Miss Lewis, for sure. Kimmer also says Kanye the same one who said that slavery was a choice. These companies still choose to do business with them. Yeah, we brought that up in the intro. So when we get to that Kanye conversation, we'll definitely come back to you on that for sure. Got an assalamu alaikum family from Brother Muhammad. Good morning to you.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Peace. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you guys are chiming up this morning. You guys have got some things on your mind, so that's what's really going on. I love it. Back to the Kanye conversation again. Creighton announcing no more Kanye music was so odd. Like someone announcing on social media that they're going to stop following someone. Yeah.
Man, should we just go ahead and dive into it? Like I try to lay the stories out in a way that the conversation flows naturally from story to story, and we have segues that we ain't got to reach for, and it's just a natural progression through the conversation where we can talk, get our ideas out, and get the news out at the same time. And y'all just don't want me to stick to that, which is okay. We're here to have the conversation.
We want to know why this is breaking news. We want to know why. So
that's the big question.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot to it.
Well, let's go ahead and set it up. For those who aren't familiar, who haven't heard the news, who don't know. Again, Kanye West has was recently on the Drink Champs podcast, said some things, and he's been saying some things really before then. The White Lives Matter shirt, the MAGA hat, supporting Trump, a lot of things that Kanye has done, but it seems like lately it's coming to a fever pitch, so much so to the point where a lot of businesses that have historically worked with Kanye are now pulling away and turning their back on Kanye after some statements were deemed anti-Semitic. And now it's reached our backyard with Creighton University announcing just yesterday that it will not be playing songs by the rapper formerly known as Kanye West, or now just Ye, at its athletic events. So no basketball games, no volleyball games, no baseball games, no Ye anywhere. And apparently the university used Kanye's power. No one man should have all that power. The irony, as their introductory song for its athletic events, including men's basketball games back in 2010. So they did use Kanye a song as kind of a theme, song for some of their events. But in a statement, a spokesperson for Creighton told KETV7, Creighton continuously reviews matters to ensure a respectful campus environment and a positive fan experience. We will not be playing Kanye West's songs at our athletic events. Earlier Tuesday, Adidas also said it would end its partnership with Kanye over his offensive and anti-Semitic remarks. And then also, yeah, I think that was like $1 billion that Adidas lost with pulling out of that deal.
I think it was something like 242 million or something like that. I can't
it was a substantial amount of money that you would think would cause a company to double think about ending the deal. But again, Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other any other sort of hate speech. The company said on Tuesday, Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect, and fairness. Adidas is just the latest company to end connections with Ye. So again, we are wondering, why is Creighton chiming in on this situation? Why are they making this headline news?
Well, here's the thing. We got our guest that's here now. We're gonna let her come in just a minute. We'll pick up this conversation a little later on, but just to answer a little bit about what you just read. Uh, if you guys remember, if you guys have been paying attention to this at all, Kanye West 3 weeks ago was begging was demanding to get out of that contract with
Yeah.
the Gap. The Gap, he was saying that it was messed up. He wanted out of it. So and then there's other that he got out of that contract with them, and also other places like Adidas and other entities have already dissolved contracts. They've already ended contracts weeks ago. So for them to chime up in the last few days like we dropped them is real crazy. And one of the reasons why we have to even think about some of these things is because of from what my perspective, this situation with Kanye is complicated. He's a complicated human being. He's doing some genius level things at the same time he's messing up on some things. At the same time he's going through some mental issues and stuff as well. But he's also playing some serious chess, and people don't like what's being said. People are naturally making comparisons about stuff that he said about black folks where nobody dropped them.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's saying stuff about Jewish people, and people are dropping them left and right. And there's something to be said about some of those things, and so we've been trying to avoid it because we don't really want to talk too much about the grandiose things that's in the news here that doesn't affect us directly. This is getting closer and closer to having to talk about this situation because of how it's representing a lot about how he's getting treated. We and people like him gets treated. People like us are getting treated. What he's doing to the black community by acting like he's acting and saying what he's saying. There's a lot of stuff there that can be talked about, and we don't have a framework yet to jump into this thing that will pull it down to what is how it affects us in our daily lives here in Omaha. So but one of the things that we do is listen to what you guys are saying, and if you guys the chat chimers are chiming up about it, and that's something that we definitely look at, but also think about because it's something that needs to be talked about. Right here in the chat, Mark Manor says someone at the local news knew this would get a ton of comments, and they did. I'm sure the news went to Creighton that Kanye My Pillow is going to be something else. That Kanye My Pillow is going to. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting what we're talking about here. Also, Kimmer is still talking about Creighton chiming up about this and saying my son is the only black public safety employee to my knowledge at Creighton, and they don't even do drug tests. How is that possible? She's talking about the representation at Creighton,
Yep.
and how Creighton worked with Channel 7 to do this, put this huge breaking news out that they're not going to play any of his music anymore, and suspect. Whole lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to that suspect. But like I said, we'll have to continue it at another time, and even keep on thinking about whether or not it's even relevant. To be honest. In the meantime, between time, we're not going to keep her waiting any longer. We do have Precious McKesson in the wings. We are politicking with Beee this morning.
Hey,
How are
y'all.
you doing? How are you
I'm
doing, Miss
good.
McKesson?
I'm good. I'm good. How are
Hey,
y'all?
Good, good. Good to see
actually,
you.
I do want to ask quickly because I see Marianne Williams in the chat about the Creighton Kanye thing. Just real quickly, she says, "I have a kid at Creighton, and students push for the change. And I know you have a daughter at Creighton. Has she spoken about this? Like talking about how it's impacting?"
No, because my thing is at the end of the day, you still got Turning Point USA sitting at Creighton, being able to participate in the hate stuff that they say. So some parents, some black parents and alumni are getting together to ask these questions. If you can have Turning Point USA on campus saying the hateful things that they're saying, And all of a sudden now you want to make Kanye your escape, you want to use Kanye as an example. I'm gonna need you to do something, because again, regardless if my daughter has a scholarship to Creighton, I still pay to Creighton for her to be able to participate into Creighton. I still put my money into Creighton, so I don't want to get it twisted. When people say, well, her daughter go to school for free, no, she don't go for free. She goes on an academic scholarship, but her mama still got to put her money into Creighton. So I'm a paying Creighton parent. To that school. And so I have some questions as to why Kanye is being used as an example, but we got Turning Point USA running around the school doing what they want to do. So
this is the first time I heard about this Turning Point USA. So
they got a whole chapter at Creighton. They're on Facebook, Turning Point USA, Creighton University.
Let me go ahead and just go to the Google.
Marianne Williams in the chat says Turning Point USA needs to go. Absolutely precious. Double standard. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You can't. I mean, all this when he said slavery was a choice. So
anybody that is spewing any type of hate. So don't make the black man the example. I'm gonna need you to make them kids the example, that organization an example also. Right is right. And again, as a paying parent, I feel that I have a right to say what I say, and I'm going to say what I got to say.
Yeah.
One thing we know about you, you're always going to say what you got to say.
Oh yeah. That's why we love Politicin with Beee, because we learned some things. Yeah, I was not aware of this Turning Point USA. Me and Paul are kind of the same boat. Like, okay. Apparently, Turning Point USA, or just Turning Point, is an American nonprofit organization that advocates for conservative values on high school, college, and university campuses.
And my thing is, and it's okay to have these organizations that advocate for the conservative, but when they start to spew hate and have people who have literally spewed hate on the campus, I have a problem, especially when you have such a small number of minority students. I should say not even of minority students, of Black students, because that's what I'm talking about. Because you have a large presence of Island Pacific or Asian Island Pacific nationalities on the campus. But when I talk about Black students, we talk about Black and brown, Black. That's what I'm talking about, because you don't have a lot, and every day, I have to question as a mother, like my daughter is like, Mom, and I'm like, oh, like how do I tell her, I know this is a good education for her, but I still have to remember that she is now missing out on a part of her that is not being displayed on the campus, where she doesn't see. So I can't get mad when she leaves campus and want to come and chill with her friends on the weekends. I just can't get upset with her, because again, she still is in her Blackness, and she does not see that representation on campus. So trust and believe. I want parents to know it's a hard conversation, because we want the best for our children. But I always, to the point now, it's like, okay, do I say, you know what, let me pull her to send her to where she can feel more comfortable in who she is, and say, you know what, I'm just going to take that hit on that debt, because we know that there's not a lot of scholarships that are being given out at HBCUs. But again, whatever's going to make my child happy and feel her internal self and feel who she is and be in a space that she feels comfortable, then I'm willing to do that.
It's interesting you say that. I was Miss Erica Felt in the chat. Miss Erica Felt, who is usually in the chat chimer, said that she was watching a show on PBS yesterday. It was called let's see if I can figure. It's called Making Black America Through the Grapevine, hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr. Awesome show. I jumped on watching a couple of episodes last night, and one of their episodes they were talking about HBCUs and how much they have turned out professionals. How they were talking to students who went and talked about how they felt being able to be in Black spaces, being able to speak and feel free in Black spaces, and not having this white gaze and not having the code switch and all these things. And I was just like, boy, I wish I would have known about this when I was a kid. I would have sure would. And then we got Buddy, who's a product of HBCUs that says it to me all the time. Right. So, I feel what you're saying, especially when we know where we're at. We're in this place, we're in this town, and
it's with anything, even like with Kimara's son. Kimara's son works there, and it's like, as mothers, You know, like she said, Mama Bear come out, because let me tell you, I will turn Creighton up. You know, we had there was a comment in a parent, and you know, I was surprised Creighton didn't remove my comment. I don't even can't remember the conversation we was having. It was that Creighton had posted that they the diversity post. And basically they showed, like they gave like all these demographics of Creighton, of what's going on, and one of the slides was the demographics, the diversity slide. And this woman was like, well, my son is a white Christian male, why isn't his he's a part of this demographic, why isn't he being displayed, da 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 da. And I said, it ain't about you. Like, Creighton is continuing to try to promote that they do have diversity in the school, and then here you come, and then all of a sudden, after the conversation got heated, well, I'm a Latino. Well, girl, you didn't say that. You said your son was a white man. So, like, you got to pick and choose what you want to be, my sister. Like, and so I said, you ain't gonna win this fight. You ain't gonna win this fight with me. Like, and I was surprised Creighton kept the post up. But I'm like, you're not gonna play. Like, don't choose who you want to be when it's convenient for you. Be who you are, your authentic self at all times.
There you go.
You know? So, but anyways, y'all, we can get on,
Yeah. we gonna, that's why we have you on. We're gonna keep on talking.
We love it. We love it.
I gotta show Mama God my shirt today. Oh, excuse my little oil stain. I just realized I had a little oil stain on.
Oh, you good? You good?
Can't even see it.
Right. Okay, I'll do it. Hey, every black woman.
Hey, Mama God in the chat says, I see USA does not behave this way. Now, what is that one?
Kwasa's a Creighton University African Students Alliance or something like that.
So it's supposed to be like the African version of the TPUSA, basically, or something? Or what is that? Is it a different kind of organization?
Kwasa?
I mean, I know they have at the school. I mean, I know they do have like a black leadership, and they don't act like they don't. The kids are very respectful. The kids are very, open to really getting people involved and want people to know about what they're doing, and they come together. But we got a lot of work to do. But again, I mean, it's always been a thing where I used to always say, like, why isn't Creighton recruiting into? We were literally right there next to Central. They're here in North Omaha, less than 15 minutes from North High School. I always wondered why they didn't recruit into our schools, and this, and I think over the years they've increased that. But I tell people, Creighton was not on our list. Creighton was nowhere near our list. Creighton had to keep asking us to apply because we was not applying. Finally, saying your application's not done, and then they gave that money, they gave that bag.
There you go. But really,
it's like down the street.
Yeah, from my experience though, like I was accepted to UNL, and me and Mama God sat down and looked, and it was actually just like a $3,000 difference between me going to UNL and me going to FAMU, where I ultimately went. And the FAMU was $3,000 more, but the experience that I received was definitely well worth it. But I did want to ask you and get into the politics, because we are a couple weeks away from the election, and 13 days. Less than 2 weeks, less than a couple weeks. Clock is ticking. And as somebody who went to I went to Upper Bound at Creighton, and I didn't get to feel that Creighton was an option either. And we're seeing a lot of fights in our school boards, and a lot of people have a lot to say about school boards and who's represented and what is talked about in our schools. So I just kind of want to transition and jump into there. We just saw the OPOA endorse somebody for a school board. What are your thoughts about what we're seeing as far as the energy pointed towards the school board, and who are some Democratic candidates for school board? I haven't heard many.
Who they endorse? Who OPA endorse?
Her name is Marnie Hodges. Marnie Hodgen. Marnie Hodgen.
Oh, she must be a Republican.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing a lot of there's talk about.
She's for the state. She's for the state board of education. So she's for so they getting into. Okay, that's a new one.
It's at every level. We're seeing it at every level: local, municipal, state. What are your thoughts?
So that's the first I've ever saw OPOA get into a state board of education. Again, you're talking about SROs. So for Democratic candidates running for school board on the ballot, y'all about to really make me work, because I know
Put you on the spot.
Brianna Poole for District 2, as well as Mark Snow for District 2. Shavonna Holman is on the ballot for districts. She's in my district. I think I'm District 6. Bear with me, y'all. I'm pulling up as fast as I can.
And are these all OPS board seats?
This is for the OPS board seats, yes. So for OPS board seats, you have Brianna Poole, District 2, Mark Snow, District 2, Shavonna Holman, District 4, Heina Argwal, she's for District 6. Carr Satterfield is for Subdistrict 8. Then you have, for your learning community, you have, and this is for Douglas County, y'all. So when I'm talking about I'm talking about Douglas County right now. For learning community, you have Brian Thomas, Mark Hager, and with Brian's in District 1, Mark Hager's in District 3. Eric Servion is in District 5. Tanya Ward is in District 6. And then State Board of Education, you have Deb Neary for District 8. She's the one running District 8. And then you also have in Millard, you have gosh, I'm trying to think. You have, for school board, you have Terry Dale, Stacy Jolly, Mark Kruger, Lisa Schoenberg. In Ralston, you have Mary Rotary, Gretna, Jenna Garcia. Fremont, you have Terry. You have a lot of people running, like in Elkhorn, Mark Wortman, Douglas County West Board of Education. You have JJ Schweizerich. I always destroy his name. Fremont, Terry Sorensen, Mike Peterson. I'm gonna put the link when we're done, and I'll put the entire slate card for for Douglas County. You can see who's all running, but definitely you do have Deb Neary, who is running, and Deb is running against Marnie, if I'm not mistaken. Deb Neary, but she's the incumbent. She's in that seat already, and she's been doing this work. She's had to to do this hard work, and they're every day they're attacking her. They're attacking her for standing up for kids' rights, for standing up for the things that the kids are reading in schools, for standing up for sex education. Like, she's standing up for our kids, to make sure that those things are not taken out of the schools. And then you have these crazy Republicans just doing their own little thing, and attacking, and that's what they're doing. I mean, look, now you got Tony Connor doing commercials. Like, come on. Like, tiptoe Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, little pose Tony.
And again, what, if I'm not mistaken, Tony was the one who was asking for people to write his name in.
No. Tony Connor's the OPA. We can't forget who Fat Tony is now. Come on now. Buddy. Tony's a president, the OPOA president.
I always get Tony and
Wayne.
Yeah, I get them mixed up. I'll be honest, I get them mixed up.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify. Like, I was looking at. I mean, I don't want us to keep going back into that thing. Wayne does understand that he cannot be the sheriff, and I think and I've had this conversation with him, and I don't think he will be upset, or offended to having it. But like I explained to him, like, it confuses people. Mm-hmm. Don't do that, regardless if you're trying to make a point of you're still moving votes, and so we've had that conversation. Like I tell people, you can't write nobody in to be sheriff. Greg Gonzalez is the candidate. I need y'all to vote for Greg Gonzalez. Okay, mm-hmm. Period, point blank.
There you go. And also now Deb Neary. Now that we're paying attention.
I'm about to put this link in there. We got Deb Neary for the State Board of Education. I mean, you have two people to choose from if you're in District 2 for OPS board. Like, let me tell you, people did not understand, and I don't think people saw. I mean, I think people saw it coming, but really didn't see it. People who really engage in politics saw it coming, but after the 2020 election, you started to see, like, they started to focus on CRT. They started to focus more on the school boards, and they started to focus on the state legislatures, because they knew that if they can get control, and they knew the Supreme Court could make changes go back to the state, then they felt they have a control then, because then your legislature is stacked to where you can make these crazy decisions that they're trying to do. So an attack on when you start attacking our school boards, I mean, the whole thing started when people were going there protesting about masks and doing all kinds. I mean, they were just doing some outlandish stuff. But the thing at the end of the day, all they were trying to do is have safe schools to educate our kids, and you have these people going in saying like books, like when you start seeing Junie B. Jones being removed from the shelves, like my daughter loved Junie B. Jones growing up. I mean, we literally would go to Barnes and Nobles at the Crossroads and sit in the children's section, and she would get books all the time. Junie B. Jones was her girl, when Junie B. Jones Junie B. Jones, like there was real life issues Junie B. Jones was going through, and the fact that now you have people attacking and want to take those books out. Even trying to think, was To Kill a Mockingbird removed from the schools?
I want to say yes.
And that's one of my favorite books. Like To Kill a Mockingbird, like really? To Kill a Mockingbird? You remove, like it's like you're trying to remove the history and different issues that impact Black and brown people, or impact anybody. You're wanting to remove these books from the schools, but then you don't want to teach about the real history. We're not you have kids who please don't get me started, y'all, because I'll
let me jump in. Let me jump in. Let me jump in. We're gonna let me jump in the chat real quick. There's some people over on YouTube. Appreciate you jumping in on YouTube. I just want to read those out because the Facebook chats don't get to see your chat sometimes. Cheryl Weston is in the chat. Good morning. She says, Precious, understand that position you're in. Faced with the decision with our second son, ended up going to Clark University in Atlanta and have never regretted that change. So it's interesting it's really interesting to hear you say that. I remember when we were talking to you before about your daughter having the choice and she got accepted to one of the HBCUs. We was all happy. I remember we was thinking that was going down. But like you said, hey, we got to look out for ourselves economically. We got to file that bag, make sure that our money's right too. And if Creighton's giving up the dollars, then we got to consider that. But it's interesting that you're considering even taking that hit and sending her where she's comfortable. I really, really applaud that. Actually, Mark Manor says Marnie is one of those crazy Kirk Penner freaks. Mark Manor we're gonna have to vote him as mayor too. Mark Manor for mayor. Linda in Chicago says, "Oh wow, Marnie is a right winger."
Yeah.
Kimara Snipes says, Wanda Lewis says, we cannot just focus on one school district. We need to look at the big picture to get a complete understanding of where this is headed.
Man.
Also, maybe Jane should have that talk with him since he's been a Democrat, gone to her for some of his other issues. That's another conversation. Yeah. Sean McCarthy's in the chat. Good morning. He says anything that stokes the cultural fire Republicans have used as a get out the vote campaign. That strategy literally got George W. Bush reelected in 2004. Interesting.
Fear mongering.
Fear mongering is that, and really that's their that's their number one. That's the number one Republican tactic, is to fear monger, is to use fear. I can't remember where I read that, but that's the number one tactic. But the Valentine says,
you can see it.
I would need a whole show to explain to you why enrollments are the way they are. Said ran that office for over a decade. We have to talk to you about that. Love to have you on to talk about that. Yeah. If those of you just joining us, it's coming up on the 8 o'clock hour. If you believe in the concept of time, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Called Buddi3 Da Gawd, and we're politicking with P, legendary Precious McKesson, history making P. Her name. Go ahead.
Can I just say something real quick? Because see, people, I want y'all to say, I just read Miss Wanda's comment, and I just want y'all to understand that just because I don't say nothing doesn't mean that I'm not in the conversation. People only give you so much to give you a little fuel. So I just want everybody to know the whole Wayne Hudson thing. As the executive director, I want y'all to put some respect on that. As the executive director, I am involved in every single conversation that happens, not just Jane because she's the chair. That's one thing I can say about our chair. She brings me in on every conversation. There's no conversation that I'm not involved in. There's not one text message group that I'm not involved in. I just don't speak on it. And I just want people to make that and I don't speak on it because I'm trying to keep the peace.
Trying to play. You playing chess. You playing chess.
Keep it neutral, because people don't tell both sides of the story of how it goes down. And let me tell you, it goes down in the DM, okay? I'm involved in it, okay? Don't get it twisted. Don't think that Jane is out here making moves and not. Precious is involved in every conversation. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's their tactic of how they don't want to tell everything. But I'm going to tell you, Precious is involved in everything. Even when I was in DC as the Black Caucus chair still, because I was still a resident of Nebraska, Precious was still involved in this conversation and knew what was going on. Okay. So I just want y'all to know that.
Speaking of being involved in conversations, we heard that you recently got with our friend Whitney Richardson.
Hey,
yes. She's launched her new podcast. So the shout out to that. That's our sister over there with a new podcast that you can get on all the platforms, really, iTunes, everywhere. Political Evolution with Whitney Richardson. I know that you remember we had her on as a guest at one point. We're going to have her on again to talk about this. But one of the episodes that we saw, you were on. So how did the conversation go with her, and how do you like her show, and what's going on there?
I mean, it was a very good conversation. And it was very informing. We had a good conversation. You have to listen to it. I mean, it was very relaxing setting. You might learn some more things about me that you didn't know, because everybody thinks they know who Precious is, but you really don't. Like, a lot of people don't know who
you have no idea.
You have no idea. Like, there's a lot of things that I do that's besides politics. But then you get to kind of get an insight of how I got to where I am now, and the journey that I've taken. And we don't know where the journey's going to next. You never know. And so, I just, anytime someone gives me the opportunity to come and talk about politics and talk about, why I'm passionate with the things that I did. What did I do in DC? Even though it was a short amount of time, it was a lot that happened in that 6 months. And can only imagine. I mean, literally just got a text message over the weekend of the first picture our first tour that we did together. And it was our core group. We were in the airport, and my former boss, she sent the picture, and she was like, wow. She was like, just to think that this group, what we were doing, and then to where they're at now. She's like, and I think we're the only two that are no longer there. But they've done some amazing things. But she, Dr. Aaliyah Samuel, she had us rolling. When I tell you, like, and I think this was this might have been the first time that I had a Black woman as the second time. First time was in my early 20s, as a direct boss. And she was, when I tell you, when I took that job, I researched her, who I was going to be working for. And I was so excited to go and work for her. And then that December, she got a big opportunity to actually do the work that we were doing, but she got to do it on the outside instead of being restricted on what she could do. She can go take a deeper dive into working with social emotional learning and working with school districts and doing all that good stuff.
That's what's up.
And so, so it was a lot, but Whitney, we had a good conversation. I gotta go listen to it. It was a really good conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna provide you. We're gonna provide you with all the links and everything, so you can definitely check this out. So happy that this is happening here. She's on the political spectrum and definitely can deep dive into more political talk. And that is a perfect compliment to us. We are on this tip right now because we are weeks away from the election. But us, we talk about Kanye, we talk about a whole bunch of, we talk about all kinds of different stuff in more entertainment field and so on, because we're in the discussion piece. But political evolution is going to be something you can really deep dive into the political sphere of what's going on here, especially in Omaha, Nebraska. And as you can see, she's picking the right guests already. So we'll give you some links on her show, most definitely. We have Kimara Snipes sitting in the wings. Do you mind if we bring her in on a little bit on your time? I'd like to have you both in for a minute now. That's gotten good to us. So we'll bring in Miss Kimara Snipes, put some respect on her name. What's good in the hood? How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right. How are y'all doing?
Hey, we always happy on Women's Wednesday.
Yes, yes.
We love it. How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right. I'm coming off of a few days off of my daytime job, I guess I'll say. I was supposed to go to Florida, but the road trip didn't pan through. So stayed in Omaha and just been doing a little bit of writing. And just other than that, I was trying to do a whole lot of nothing, to be honest with you. But it doesn't always work out like that. But it's all good. Been out here trying to support my guy, Greg, in the meantime with just everything that's been going on. Tony, too.
Unplug and unwind sometimes.
Yeah, I'm trying. Work in progress.
I was telling somebody, whenever somebody calls me and I say, "How you doing? What you doing today?" Nothing. I'm just doing nothing today. I'm just trying to. I'm so happy for it. Like that. That's the best news you can give me is that you ain't doing nothing right now because we all do too much.
And that's what you're doing. It's nothing.
Yeah. So it's back to the grind today.
Well, that's
13 days. 13 days. Woo.
Yeah.
So we got hot off into this conversation about the union jumping into politics with this endorsement of this woman for Board of Education that Marnie that the chat chimers told us is a right winger and everything else. So and we're wondering about this. Shout out to Marianne Williams who posted this in Friends of Sky Omaha. We're wondering why is the police union getting involved with stuff like that? Kimara, do you have any thought? Have you seen that, or did we just break this news for both y'all? Did we? Is this?
I mean, you broke it for me. I'm sorry. And here's the thing, like
finally, we got one in that you didn't know about yet. Finally,
yeah. Over these past few days, that also meant trying to limit the amount of news that I was taking in.
Yeah, I hear that.
Also, something I have to work on because if you ever do the Gallup poll, the strengths like learner input are all up in my top, and so I'm always taking in information. No, that's news, but not really news because. As we have seen, for some reason, the Omaha Police Department, the union can't seem to stay their asses out of politics. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. But they can't seem to stay out of, and when I say politics, I mean the political decision-making process, right? Which really has nothing to do with you. I still am trying to figure out, Greg is my dude, but I'm trying to figure out why we even elect a sheriff to begin with, right?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
I mean, we don't elect our chief, but we elect a sheriff. I don't understand that. You see what I'm saying? So as far as I know, those are two different things, but I don't understand why law and authority are getting mixed up in politics.
Yeah, I agree.
But at this point, I think that my focus can't be on why they're getting involved. We see they're gonna do it. They're not going to stop doing it. What is the answer? If we're talking about this as a game, what's our defense? What is our defense? And not just our defense, what's our offense too?
Yeah.
We see that it's real out here. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Precious.
No. But my question is that what's going to happen when we take these seats that they're pushing against us? Are they not going to work with us? You know what I mean? Because it's like you putting yourself into a situation to where you have to work. We have to work together. So ultimately, you need to. When it comes to police, they need to stay out of it because at the end of the day, they're going to be working with whoever's elected into that office. And if it's the person that they were policing against, how are y'all going to have these conversations? Because now. I just feel like it's just you're playing with people's lives. You're playing with people's safety. You just you stay out of it.
You got a really good point there. I always look at stuff on TV shows and stuff like that where they always have a change of power, Game of Thrones and all that kind of stuff. I serve the king, whoever the king is. If the next king comes in, I'm gonna serve that king. Nah, you had a favorite king. You was what I'm saying.
I mean, we saw that with the recent presidential election, right? We saw that with just if we're talking about numbers, right? We see how divided, literally, like the country is, and that definitely trickles down into our local politics. And really, I think we have to look at this at levels, right? What happens, at the nationwide level, congressional level, U.S. Senate level? What's going to happen at our state level? What's going to happen in our county? What's going to happen in our city? We have to look at these individually because, unfortunately, these groups don't even really seem, as far as I'm concerned, even really talk to each other the way they should. Right. They dang sure don't talk to us. So how do we find out what's going on and involve ourselves in those decision-making processes. I've been a part of Nebraska politics, for a long time, like 20 years is a long time. And now through work, I can approach it. I feel like we're approaching this from double sides, right? And so I'm talking more from the non-political aspect of the actual like neighborhood, that organizing piece of it. How do we look at it through those lenses? You know what I'm saying? And really address this, because we keep seeing it keeps being shown to us in blunt, ways that these elections are important, right? So how do we take this and message it to our community over the next how many days, right? Because these elections are super important. Governor, Congress,
judges,
sheriff, right? And so there's a lot going on. It's really, really serious. And how do we find a way to message to people how serious it is and really, really get them involved? And not just for this upcoming election, but after that as well.
Precious, you had a point you want to jump in?
Yeah, because Ms. Wanda made a good point. When I travel to the South, you see the judges campaigning. The judges in Nebraska are very lax, even though they're on the ballot. Like I've never seen a judge campaign in Nebraska. But if you go like to Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama, the judges campaign hard for those seats. But here they don't. And then when Kimara says that they don't talk to us, and I'll say this, the Republicans send out this message, and if you start to and as I travel, I always listen at the commercials. They're all the same. They're just they all. So right now, if everybody's using the word rubber stamp, everybody's using the crime thing, everybody's using the inflation. Like they're using they have like this the weekly talking points. These are the talking points. This is all we want you to do in your commercials. All we want you to talk about, and they stick to that. And again, when you start talking about how they knew that the legislature and the school boards was going to be their targets, because they know that whatever happens on the federal is going to trickle right down to the states. They're going to push it. They're going to pull it back to the states, so the states to make those decisions. So that's why they're going hard for these seats, because they know if they get control in the Congress and the Senate, they're going to send everything back to the state, and they have control in the state, and they'll be able to control the different things when it comes to our school boards and our state legislatures. We have to work together. We have to.
Let me jump in the chat real quick. First of all, good morning, Black Dynamite. Appreciate you coming on in. Ms. Erica Phelps says, I think it's held over from the Wild West, talking about voting for sheriffs. Also, she says, good morning to you. Wanda Lewis says, I think we should be able to vote on chief of police, just like we do for the sheriff, the Douglas County attorney, and the judges. As a matter of fact, when you said that earlier, you said, I wonder why we vote for the sheriff. And I was like, I have a pretty good grasp on why we vote for the sheriff. Why don't we vote for the chief of police is what I want to know.
I think that we should be able to elect.
Hold on, one at a time, please. Go ahead. What were you were going to answer somebody go first.
The chief of police is a city position. Everything else is a county position. That's why the mayor has control of the city. And then you have
county commissioners.
You have the county commissioners. So that's why, but it needs to be brung as one. So you can vote for the chief.
I hear you. I hear that. Ms. Erica Phelps says, I think judges campaigning is a Southern thing. I don't remember judges campaigning on the West Coast either. When we were talking about the voting process earlier, I think it was Ariel's 402 that jumped in and said he got, I was talking about the judges. I was talking about when I went to go look at the book, I didn't know about judges. He said he got hung up because a lot of people haven't been visible. He don't know who people are. And it's not just a campaign thing. Sometimes it's strategic. They just are not standing up and saying, I'm running because they can quietly stay in unopposed, right? And that's happening a lot too. So I definitely think that I always get hung up on the judges myself because I don't know who any of them are, and I know that they are very much they're so important to everyday regular people's lives because they make decisions about your life all the time. And so more research and more needs to be known about them. But it's interesting how they just quietly sit in the cut.
Yeah. I only knew because I worked in the courthouse, because I used to work in the clerk of district court. That's the only reason why I knew who the judges were. But
I talked to my friends that have been in front of them judges.
Yeah,
and that's the only reason why I know who them judges are. So you know what I'm saying?
and
Mama
we
guys,
look at our juvenile judges. There's 2 juvenile judges on there, Chad Brown and Vernon Daniels. You got to look at that. These are the people who will be, I mean, look, man, people got to, but again, I think we need to do a better job of campaigning and talking about those judges. But again, since they're not been on our ballot, on our slate cards, because we don't, it's something we've never dived into as a political party, because they don't put their political, you're right, we don't know. I mean, I couldn't even tell you, I know Chad Brown is because of his name, but I couldn't pick him in a lineup if you asked me to.
Wow. Kimara, what's your take on that situation with the judges?
No, I was just gonna say, I don't think it's just a Southern thing, because I was in New York City this year, and a brother walked up to me who was running as a judge. So it does happen, and I was just saying, not just in the South, but yeah. I mean, I think that, there's a lot of organizations that exist out here, and I think that, people sit down collectively. I mean, there can be a scorecard created. I mean, we find ways to invest money in all sorts of things. I think that we can find a way to invest in something like that. I know that these are conversations we have had at the table, just around judges and things like that, but also existing as a nonprofit, it can be kind of difficult when you're trying to pour funding into actual, door knocking and canvassing and things like that. But the judges are important. I remember, even as we talk about the police, right? There was a Judge Troya years ago, and he was the one who let, what was his name? He was the police officer, Paul Antoniak. He was the one who assaulted a Black woman, and she was smart enough to make sure that she kept that evidence. And he was convicted of first-degree sexual assault in the state of Nebraska. And he was the first person, not just police officer, first person in the state to be convicted of that crime and serve no jail time. And it was Judge Troya who did that, and I remember writing a letter to the paper about it. And that was my first time really thinking to myself, we don't know nothing about these judges, at all. And so definitely needs to be something that happens. And, if anyone has any thoughts around how we can do it as a nonprofit or even as a party, Precious belongs to the Black Caucus. I'm secretary of the Black Caucus right now. I used to be chair of the Black Caucus. We have that organization as well. So, happy to have those discussions, because these judges are something that's serious, and they are. I got cousin right now in the pen right down there in Lincoln. They are sentencing our people, our kids, all the time. So definitely worth having a conversation about that.
I have a family friend who's currently serving like 20 years for a very, very questionable case. Very, very questionable case. And there was a lawyer involved, who was very close. These judges definitely have to be taken into account. And I'm thinking documenters program. That's where my mind is going in all of this.
Mm-hmm. You know what, buddy? Also, what you make me think about too, though, I remember a conversation came up during the mayoral race, and one of the things I talked about was, we constantly talk about like the juvenile justice center, which is worthy of conversation, but what about the whole criminal justice system, period? Yep. And judges are a part of that. The police is a part of that. The county attorney is a part of that. All these different organizations are a part of that, including judges as well. So,
can I just piggyback on what Kimara said? When I worked in the clerk of district court, it made number one, judges really started to come to the forefront. We've always heard about the judges like on the ballot, but I think also when they came to the forefront was when the young man, I think he was from a South American country, and he killed the young lady in a car accident. The judge let him out and he left.
Right.
And they couldn't find him. Then people were like, wait a minute, why are they doing this? But I would sit in the court and I would get the orders, and I would get the orders of the like crimes. And I'm like, how they get probation? But then you got Black men, jail time, sentenced to jail time for child support, jail time. I mean, I used to watch this stuff come in, and I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like people going to jail for behind child support, but then you have the white male counterparts who might get stuck with like some drugs or be convicted of some type of drug crime, and they get drug court. But then you got black men who get actually time in jail for these crimes. So I used to literally watch the orders when they would come in from the different judges and be like, wow, this is kind of messed up, you know. But then I would see how many people would come in and pay their drug court fees for their white collar or these white collar crimes who would get probation and just have to come pay restitution. Like, I mean, I saw it all, and I just always kind of felt a certain kind of way. But again, we do need to figure out, how do we do these judges? I never forget. There was a judge, and I said something, and I didn't realize who his mama was. And baby, I was on the chopping block for a while with her.
Ooh, I wonder if I know who that is.
Man, she mama. But I was just speaking from my heart and how I felt. And baby, she didn't like that. But, you know, we've gotten to a point to where, you know, I think she understood my heart. I wasn't trying to, you know, come for him as an individual. I was basically speaking on how people are judged. And, you know, and she came for me, baby.
No names.
Can I add to that really quick? Don't forget that as we talk about this process, and this goes back to elections and voting, right? When we talk about our governor, you know, there's still, you know, our mayor has boards and commissions. They also have them at the state level. And there are those where people can be appointed that get to select judges too. So don't forget to look at that. Every now and then when I remember, I'll go to the governor's website and look at these boards and commissions and try to think, I wonder if I know anybody who lives in this area that might be able to do this, because we also have to do our due diligence and find these opportunities, because they ain't gonna come and tell us. Nope. They're not gonna come and tell us, right? And then also I saw somebody asking in the chat about a way to put together a get to know your judges kind of thing. I think, Precious, that would be great for maybe the alliances to get together on and do something like that, especially when I think about our mission at SONA, and part of that being communication, right? And empowerment. Getting to know your judges and those people who represent you is empowerment. So I think that's definitely something. And if that person who put the Kobe, you want to holler at me and be one to help, because somebody else said it's already too many people trying to do too many things, so I don't want nothing else to do. Right. So come over and help some sisters out, and let's make this happen, because I do agree, too few people trying to do way too many things, and that's not collective impact. So I agree.
We need a list of judges and their mamas.
No, don't get to mamas. Not this mama.
Not that mama. And I love her. She's out here doing the good fight too. I love her with all my heart, because she been out here years doing the work, and it was a lesson learned for me to know, like, who out here doing this work. And I offended her, and I had to apologize. You know, I mean, I'm not a person, I will apologize quickly, but she was not happy with me. And I called her and I apologized, and she accepted it, because she was like, that's her baby. I don't care who's wrong. That's her baby.
Want to know so bad who it is.
Tell you outside the chat, but she's a wonderful person. She's doing, and not just in North Omaha, she's doing work in South Omaha, baby.
We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna wrap this up. Yeah. Linda Chicago has got a good point for all of this. All positions that the community votes on should have to present their agenda and plan for their term. Otherwise, what's the point of the vote? It's become a meaningless formality that should mean something.
Yeah, I gotta respond. I was reading that actually, and my mama came up in my head. Oh, and all I heard was shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Yeah, they should. And I agree with you 100%, Linda. I agree with you 100%. But the reality is that they don't have to, right? So the reality is we as people, we have to demand that they do it. I had a conversation last night with a friend of mine called me to ask me about this event on Sunday. And I'm going to put him on blast, but this is what you have to do because it works. So Vinny Palermo is my city councilman, right? And I've been blasting. Y'all know I've been talking about him not showing up, not doing what he's supposed to do. I had a conversation with somebody last night about an event that's supposed to happen on the first Thursday of the month, which is a South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance meeting day. And they said that they was talking to Vinny about it, but he said, oh man, look, I ain't trying to have Kimara kill me. Look, we're going to have to find another time because I have to be there. You know what I'm saying? We got to put our foot down. We have to demand it, because if we don't, we clearly see they're not going to do it. Period.
Yeah. Hold them accountable.
We're gonna go ahead and let Precious get on about her day, and because we got two more questions for Kimmer. But thank you so much for coming on, and it's a always a pleasure. you always set my day off.
Just make sure y'all vote. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all ballot need to be in. You have until this Friday to request an early ballot. So make sure that you get that request in if you want that early ballot. We do have a special guest coming in on Sunday to do a rally with Senator Vargas, congressional candidate. So we have Nakima Williams, Representative Nakima Williams, who is coming in on Sunday. She is the congresswoman from Georgia. She's also the Georgia state chair, and she sits in the seat of the late John Lewis. So she'll be in Omaha doing some GOTV work with Tony. So I just want to tell y'all, get out and vote. Carol Blood is pushing hard. I put the link to that the slate card in there. Exercise your right, because again, like we always say, if our votes didn't matter, they would not be putting so many laws in place to suppress our vote. And vote against that voter suppression bill, y'all. Man. Please vote against it and get your kids vote. Yesterday, Taylor came home just for me to vote, just to vote. Hey. She filled out her ballot in front of me, and I dropped it off for her. And also, shout out to Douglas County Election Commission. I went to drop off her ballot last night, and they actually have cameras sitting over election boxes. I know I saw the one off of 72nd, and that's sad that we're at a point that we have to have cameras over the election boxes because of what people are doing to take away our exercising our right to vote. So make sure y'all are doing that. And I appreciate y'all always, and have a good one. See you later, Kimmer. Kimmer, answer my email, my RSVP, please, and thank you. I sent it. That means you was on vacation for real if you ain't responded yet.
I was not playing.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
You too. See you next week.
Oh, gosh.
Peace, peace, peace. There you go. Precious McKesson, history making P. Politics with P today. Put some respect on her name. That's what's up. Appreciate you very much. Appreciate everybody in the chat that's going on. We got a couple more minutes we want to spend with Kimmer. I got two questions. Number one question is well, let me see. Now that you didn't reveal that you've taken a little vacation on the news and things this past couple of days, I'll still ask the question: what's been on your mind while you're taking this little break away from things? What's been on your mind that's forefront in your brain? Wow. What's happening as far as this week and last week is concerned?
What's been on my mind? Gosh, she's trying to open up a whole can of worms.
Well, wait a minute. Let me put some caveats. We only got a few more minutes left, so
right. Honestly,
what's the number one thing?
The number one thing is so Chris Bowling from The Reader called me about this ARPA stuff. And he was like, hey, this was probably a few weeks ago. And he asked me if I wouldn't mind just starting to write stuff down about just, following the money, my experience, working on this race and all these different things. And to be honest with you, what's really on my mind is ever since this video came out last week with Aaron Hansen in it, and this isn't even about the Greg Gonzalez race, which, by the way, please vote for Greg Gonzalez for sheriff. Please, 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 in Douglas County. Like, the alternative is just not what it's about. But for me, it's this cover-up stuff, right? And I don't even know if I should say anything, but what's really been on my mind is this. So when I was listening to y'all show Friday with the lady from Blue Snitch, it really brought up a lot of memories for me. So y'all know I'm from South Omaha. Grew up in South Omaha, grew up in this church called Allen Chapel in South Omaha. It's an AME church. AME church is the first Black incorporated church in the United States of America. Church is also where I got a lot of who I am. That's the first place I ever ran for an office. It's where I met a lot of my longtime friends that I still know to this day. And one of those friends that I made was this guy named Kevin Allen, who goes by Hassani now. And so if you remember, if you're from Omaha, back in 95, an officer was killed, and that was Jimmy Wilson. Never condone violence against anyone. I never condone the murder of anyone. I do find it interesting, though, that it comes up with people and nobody ever talks about just the racist behavior that some of these cops have, exhibited in our communities for just like years. And when that happened, it was South Family. And if you're familiar with gangs, South Family is one from South Omaha, pretty much from the South Side Terrace, the projects as people call it. And South Family was the gang that was responsible for the murder of Jimmy Wilson. And Kevin is who ended up going to prison for the rest of his life for that. And I believe the only reason why he didn't get the death penalty was because of his age at the time. Several of us have still communicated with Kevin, and a friend of mine, Dion, wrote a book. He was someone else. There was this van, the infamous van when this happened, and Dion was on this van. I got permission to talk about this from Dion before I even talked about this today. And he was on the van that day and did not go to prison for that. But a few years later, after Jimmy Wilson was killed, several indictments came down in South Omaha, several of them, and one of them for him. And I think he ended up getting like close to 30 years, but they changed these crack cocaine laws and people got out early. And when he did, he wrote a book. And he wrote a book about his experience during that time when the police were looking for him and Kevin, and what happened after they were arrested and just different things like that. And when I heard the lady from Blue Snitch on there, it just kept popping up in my head, just different parts of the book. And I know the book so well because I helped to type it up. So I probably read the book about 8 times. There were several pieces that were sticking out to me. And one of them is, because we're talking about cover up, right? It's just these funny things that happen in police departments. And when this happened, there was a little dude named Otis, and he was like 14 at the time. And the police were saying that he was involved in this. And there was another dude, Ronnie, and they were young and they were separated from each other, but they kept saying that this young man had something to, Dion Harris. I talked to him yesterday about this, actually. It might have been the day before yesterday. So anyway, they kept saying this boy has something to do with it. And he had told them that he was at the movies. And so long story short, got to wrap up in 2 minutes. Long story short, him and this other young man had these different stories. They would change their stories, but their stories were all the same. And ended up finding out, yes, whoever that is, Ariel's 402, yes. I just talked to Dion yesterday, the day before, talking about the book he wrote. They had these different stories, but they would change with each other, and they still ended up finding out that Otis was at the movies. And it always just stood up in my head, like, how these two kids have these different stories, but they were separate from each other. And, as this video comes out and we just talk about cover up and just all these different things, I just got questions. And I was talking to Dion about it this weekend or this last week because, I have questions. So these are just things that we're thinking about. And I guess I would say what's on my mind is, what else don't we know? You know what I'm saying? What else don't we know? And I guess it's near and dear to me because, this is someone who was like family that I grew up with. But there's just a lot, and I want to know now. And I want to know about a lot of things. And I think we should all want to know. They're locking our kids up, our family members up. And they out here just grimy and doing dirt. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know what's going on. I know I've been following this money, but now this got my eyes opened up to a whole new other stuff. So that's really what's on my mind.
Us too. That's definitely. I can say that for a fact. Is this last interviews that we've been doing this past week or two, especially after we did that special one on that Tuesday when we got the news from Flatwater Free Press and Chris Bowling from the Reader about the evidence that was found about that particular sheriff that had roughed somebody up, and then all that stuff got covered up. Ever since then, we definitely have been. And then actually talking to Greg Gonzalez too, Brother Gonzalez really made me be like, his thing stuck in my head. Like, if they're treating us like this, who are high level members of the police department, then how are they treating everybody else? We have to ask how, we got to look and see how they're treating everybody else. Also talking to you, you've come on several times now. You sat in some of these court these courtrooms and heard some of the stuff and got wowed by the level of corruption and stuff that's been going on. So like it is definitely something that, and then Brother Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, who is trying to call for more transparency on a bunch of different levels and passing bills and all kinds of stuff to have it. It's a very crucial thing to have. I think that it always comes back to putting people in seats who will be more transparent, or demanding laws and things like that that will allow for more transparency. We definitely need to know, especially with the juvenile justice centers and stuff like that coming in and how they're talking about throwing the kids in. So we're on the same page with what it is that is on your mind, and it's on our minds, in the back of our minds, real heavy too, in a real way. I definitely want to give some time to the rest of the show, though. So I want to ask you one last question before we let you go for the rest of your day. What's good in the hood? Anything that's good standing out that you're feeling? And you get anything to leave us with some positivity.
Yeah, so been working with Wyshell Davis from Heartland Workers Center, Jackie Prados from League of Women Voters, Preston Love and Crystal Fox from Black Votes Matter, and Precious from North Omaha Neighborhood Alliance, in collaboration, hopefully with Black Voters Matter out of Atlanta, Georgia. But we want to have an event party after the polls on Election Day.
Yep.
Really come out, get some good music, and just really get some great information about creating a plan for after the election. Again, we often talk about Election Day, which is important, especially this year, I have to say, but we also have to talk about what happens after that and how we organize at the neighborhood level in a really intentional way about getting out the vote. Voting should be something that's accessible. I never want to see people saying that they don't know about someone, which isn't their fault, though. That's our fault. It's like an official's fault for not making this accessible. So really just trying to organize that, put that together for Election Day. Get out the vote, but don't forget about the ballot initiatives, 432 and 433. We want to say no to voter ID, and we want to say yes to raise the wage. Don't forget to practice that relational organizing that y'all were talking about earlier that just gives my heart joy, So please, please, please keep talking about it. Tell your friends and have them tell their friends, their kids and your grandmas and your uncles and your aunties and your club members and all that to please get out the vote. Please get out the vote. I'm old school, so I'm going on the day of. My mama took me with her every time she voted, so I just can't get it out my system. Got my first guy on too. Hey. But anyway, so just get out the vote. If you do it early, if you do it day of, I don't care. Just do it. Make it happen. And then come on down to the Culture House between 2 and 6 and celebrate handling your business.
Is that the same thing as the Brianna Fools thing that she put out here?
No, not the same thing. We are a nonprofit, and we do not align with anyone who is running for office. Shouts out to Bree, but these are two separate events. Do not put that flyer up with me.
Got it. Okay. Two separate events. Okay.
Yeah, we are a nonprofit. We don't care who you voting for as far as this goes.
Send us your flyer. We'll definitely promote your event as well. So.
Yeah, we're working on it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, looking out for that. Looking out.
Thanks for coming, man. We'll see you next week. You hang in there now. Keep on taking some days off if you need it.
Yes.
Self-care.
Yep. All right, y'all.
All right, peace out.
Thank you.
Right on, Miss Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name. She's down there at the headquarters, 30th and Ames. The scooters down there, that's the headquarters, y'all. So definitely don't forget about that scooters. Go on and run through and get your coffee, get your good stuff, and then check in, because you always run into somebody like Kimara Snipes down there at the headquarters. 30th and Ames, man, goes down. Unity in our communities, Brother Muhammad says, definitely the theme here for sure. What did you think about that interview, man? What you think about? What's on your mind about stuff that's standing out on what Kimara's speaking on?
Man, well, quite honestly, what she was speaking about the cover up, man, like that, it stuck out to me because it's coming from her, somebody who has been invested in making sure that the relationship between the community and the police is somewhat, at least cordial, at the very least. Again, she's spoken extensively about, her experience at the libraries, working at the libraries, holding forums where, the youth in the community, the police can come and talk and kind of get to know each other. And for Kimara to be like, to have that sense that she's been lied to, that there's more out there, it's telling. Again, somebody who's friends with, police officers, who's helping the sheriff run for office. For her to feel the way that she's feeling right now, it means something.
Very true. Jump in the chat real quick. Mama God says the only time I voted for a judge with any level of familiarity was Judge Darrell Lowe and Judge John Pierce. Not because I knew their platform, but because Lowe is Buddy's family and Pierce is my dad's good friend and frat bro. I know that is not the way people should vote for judges, but my point is you got more information than most of us got about it because of those personal relationships for sure. Miss Erica Phil says, glad I caught you ladies this morning. Thank you for always enlightening us. Shout outs to Precious and Kimber there. Thank you, Miss Erica Felt. Also, Mama God said, Precious, telling Precious, I know I'm here to help you. You're adopted Mama God. Love you, love you, my sister. That's what's up. Keep it all in the fam. Wanda Lewis is talking about what the police do right now, which is called withholding information. It's definitely a term that we are feeling real sick of. We got to do something about in a real way. Ariel's 402 over in YouTube is saying, I'm very familiar with Omaha back in the day. I seen it, Mr. Dion Harris. He's talking about that situation that Kimmer was talking about, the brother who wrote the book and so on. Wanda Lewis says they put a dollar amount on our children with very little investment. They receive $100,000 per child per year by locking them up. You got to follow the money on that and realize some of the reasons why these things are happening. Brianna Full is on YouTube. She says we should really be pushing for an audit of the police department right now while we have this momentum going.
Agreed.
Great suggestion.
Agreed.
Great suggestion. Wanda Lewis says the work continues for sure. Also, like Dynamite says, she did say what all has been lied about. My wife and I talk about that all the time. And there's so many more lies than what we realize.
Oh yeah, and the fact that we're finding out about the Omaha Police Department, and I mean we kind of already knew, it's very interesting that they kind of push this whole gold standard thing. Like if this is the gold standard, then what is the rest of the country dealing with? If this is the gold standard, I don't know, man. I don't know, and
I will say this. I will say this real quick that somebody did bring that to my attention too. Like we go through a lot here, but we don't go through nearly as much as some other states do. So you're right. Like if this is the gold standard, and we've seen how messed up things are here, especially as far as communication is concerned. There's the straight cover ups and stuff going on in other cities.
Oh yeah. I mean, we can talk about the police, the whole police department that resigned after they got the black councilwoman, and I think that was in North Carolina. So yeah, but that's my point. And do we take the lesser of evils or do we just demand better? And that's the whole point with this whole political system. Like, when are we going to stop? Excuse my language. When are we going to stop eating shit? When are we going to stop accepting less? Like, are we happy with the lesser of evils? It's still evil.
The truth. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back, do a little lightning round and talk about the haps as well. More stuff to talk about. Thank you so much for everybody that's joining in, jumping into the chat. Miss Erica Fell says, I'm not thankful that it's not as bad as back home. This place needs to do better. True that. Thanks for the shout. Thanks for the recommendation on this Making Black America Through the Grapevine, hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr. Miss Erica Felt. I definitely checked out a couple episodes last night. Got my blood running, and it's a great one on PBS. I'm a PBS head anyway, so shout out and appreciate that very much. So we'll take a quick break and we'll come right back. Stay tuned. More to talk about. More to come. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for joining us. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
For the volume button, I was having a hard time there. We got a special guest coming in on Friday, so don't forget to tune in Friday. Andrew Joy Pearson from Opera Omaha is going to come in and talk to us about this Malcolm X play. It's going down, so stay tuned for that. And we got a few special guests that are going to be coming up here in the next few shows that you definitely want to pay attention to. So shout out to Andrew Joy Pearson from Opera Omaha that's going to come in on Friday. So definitely check that show out. In the meantime, between time, the chat's going off. That's what's going on. Tamika Johnson said, nice beat. Got me bouncing at my desk. Shout out to Buddi3 Da Gawd for that. So Buddi3 Da Gawd creation.
Yes,
what's going on? I'm Zergafelt. I'm sorry. Ariel's 402 says, this. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's talking about brother JR. They're talking in the chat with each other, which is what we encourage. We appreciate everybody doing that. Continuing on the conversation, even beyond us. And don't forget, join Friends of First Sky Omaha if you're listening. That's where a lot of the chat, a lot of the news goes. A lot of the chat happens when we're not on air, and you can put things there that's on your mind, and we definitely go back and read those things before these shows and bring them up. So some of those things are going to be in the lightning round that we got coming up next. So, Buddy, you want to go for it?
Yeah, we can. I did want to acknowledge Miss Erica Phelps' comment real quickly. She says that's like being happy that a man only forced to kiss instead of raping. I'm talking about choosing the lesser of evils.
Yeah, man, you're right. When are we gonna stop choosing stop with the evil system? That's maybe beyond our control, but we gotta fight along with God on that one.
There you go. But yes, just about 13 minutes left in the show. Let's go ahead and dive into a lightning round because we do have a few stories to get through really quickly. So make sure I'm lined up and things like that.
Man, too bad I don't got like a lightning graphic and stuff going on right now.
That would be dope. That would be, or if you could like make the sky behind us like lightning. That anyway. Yes. Yeah. But we'll kick off this lightning round with the minimum wage because again we are just 13 days away from the election day, but you can vote now and not just on seats, but there are ballot initiatives to look out for as well. So again, the two ballot initiatives that will be up for vote is one, voter ID, which again we are asking that you vote against, vote no for. But their other one, we are saying please support this Nebraska minimum wage hike. Again, there is a ballot initiative to push the minimum wage up to $15 an hour, which according to Omaha World Herald would help lift thousands of people, thousands of Nebraskans out of poverty. So again, this is definitely a step in the right direction. If you ask me, still not enough, especially with some of these apartments prices coming up. But again, a step in the right direction. So for those of you who have still not voted, again, please make sure you are looking out for the ballot initiatives. And we are voting yes for a minimum wage hike. And other news coming out of Florida, it looks like Nebraska Representative Ben Sasse, who looked all but set to be the University of Florida president, is receiving some pushback, not just the 300 plus students who protest against his hiring, but also the faculty and University of Florida will also hold a no confidence vote in the selection process of Senator Ben Sasse as the president of the university. Again, Sasse, who did serve as president of Midland University several years ago before again serving as senator, or not senator, but senator. Again, not really receiving a lot of love, and this is something that we are looking out for because if Sasse does become the president of the University of Florida, there will be a few changes as far as seats in Nebraska, and Ricketts may be eyeing his seat. So again, we're always looking at what Ricketts is chiming up about, what he's planning on doing next. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on this whole University of Florida situation to see if Sasse does make his way down south. In other news, Nebraska just announced via the Omaha World Herald, big shout out, that the National Guard will break ground for a new $36 million facility near Offutt Air Force Base. And again, Paul and I were talking a little bit before the show about the significance of this. If you remember back in Freedom Summer, when we had the protests throughout the Omaha metro area, the National Guard were present in the area. And then also just historically, if you look at some of the military tactics on cities, it's very interesting. If you look at how Omaha is built, if there were a military presence or like a National Guard to take over the bridges in Omaha, the city could be surrounded and locked down within hours. And now possibly with the National Guard base just down the road, that could be turned into minutes.
Straight up.
Man, there's definitely some things to look out for as far as the National Guard presence in the Omaha area, but we can definitely talk about that at later dates. But finally, and to wrap up our lightning round, this is something that we've all been looking at in other news, looking at the student debt relief plan from the Biden administration. It looks like that plan will temporarily be blocked. Again, a lot of us wondering what's going on with that. Will our debt be wiped out, or at least a portion of it? And it looks like at least not for now. Federal appeals court has temporarily blocked the student loan forgiveness plan, halting any debt from being erased. However, the administration is encouraging people to continue submitting their application. That website is available. However, whether or not the application will go through has yet to be seen. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on that situation as it progresses. But that does it for our lightning round here on First Sky Omaha. In
that situation there with the holding up of that is directly connected to the 6 states that are trying to sue Biden for the debt relief, and Nebraska being one of the states.
Yep.
That was in that lawsuit there. So
actually, I think Nebraska, I would say Nebraska and Iowa were like the only 2 states that weren't slave states in that. I find that interesting.
I mean, you know, that's all relative too. What's a slave state? Every state that got a jail is a slave state, ain't it? Just saying.
When you put it like that.
Yeah. Any comments, any thoughts on those things? Definitely let us know. Put those in the chat. Put those in Friends of First Sky Omaha. We'll definitely pick up and talk about some of those things in the coming up as well. That National Guard story is something that I'm really going to come back to for sure, because you know, I was very got a lot of good inside information there. We were kind of covering what was going on during Freedom Summer. That was kind of our protest. That's when I got the whole idea about journalism as activism. Part of our activism didn't involve us going out on that bridge and walking, but it did involve us reporting on what was going on them bridges and so on and so forth. And some of the information we came across, when the National Guard comes to town, they can march right down 24th Street and lock everything down. There's a reason why Offutt is where it's at, and where the Fort campus of North Omaha is where it's at. So that's exactly what happened 3 days into the protest. That's when the National Guard finally came out and started doing stuff like rounding people up and pepper spraying down the whole city, and really came in a show of force when people were out there protesting. Well, now National Guard is going to be right there next to Offutt and can be in town in a matter of minutes the next time the protest goes down. Very something to definitely think about and keep eye on, and we can go even further than that into this stuff, because why are there concentration camps and things being built in Iowa? Why are there new spots that National Guard people are getting ready to get posted closer to us? Lots to ask and talk about.
Man, yeah. I mean, we could use a whole nother hour to get into that, but you know, we got brothers like Walter Brooks releasing books called No Shadows After Dark. You know, go ahead and check that out, man. There's some things. Look, I'll just wrap it up with this. We're talking about the election because I'll say I was one of the people like, I don't know about the vote, man. Like I was sure, I was positive that the Electoral College was some secret cabal that was secretly running our nation. And, you know, like I had like, who is it? Who that's why we're so excited and happy to have Precious a part of what we're doing, because she was a part of the Electoral College, and, you know, she can give us insight. And I say that to say, ask questions, learn more about civics, learn more about how our country is being ran, because it is being run how it's designed to run. Like all the issues that we're talking about is with intention. It's not just happenstance, and we got to do something to get rid of that.
That's right, and that's what's happening.
What's the haps? What's happening?
Hey,
what's going down?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the haps. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, what's coming up. It's also time for you to let us know what's coming up as well, and of things of note, things that we need to be promoting, and all that good stuff. So if you have some, let us know. Put it in the chat. Marianne Williams already jumped in, says, don't forget the governor controls the National Guard if you need another reason to vote for blood. Wee. Whoo, Ariel's 402. If you're a true believer in the right to bear arms, you have to be for defunding the police. Why? Who do you think is coming for that right? The guard and the cops. Come on, Ariel's 402. Tell the truth. And remember, if you're ever in trouble, don't call the cops. Call a crackhead. Remember that dude.
What?
Yeah. This is have you seen this meme? Have you seen this governor's commercial?
No.
It's man, I'm gonna find it for you. It's incredible. The brother says there's people out there that actually want to defund the police. If you don't like cops just for cops' sake, then next time you want to get yourself in trouble, call a crackhead. It's all about Democrats that want to pull people out of jail and just have people running around committing crimes and going wild. It's one of them cats. Well, you were talking about a script earlier.
That's the script. That's the script.
Oh man, Brianna Full has a election party night that she wants you to come to November 8th, 2022, 7 to 9:30 at the Culture House. You know where that's at, 3014 North 24th Street in Omaha. Live music, hors d'oeuvres. Got some hors d'oeuvres going on, some drink. She says she'll be accepting donations for OPS Secondary Success Program, Thanksgiving baskets. Bring a turkey, ham pie, beans, greens, tomatoes, potatoes.
You name it.
Bag of dinner rolls for the free full for OPS t-shirt. That's what's up. Guys, get your t-shirt on. Straight up. Congratulations and good luck to Brianna Full running for OPS School Board. She's already setting up for the victory party going on, election night watch party happening at Culture House. Check them out for sure. Check out our sister over here that's got the new podcast recorded at Webbereye Studios, Political Evolution Squad, with Whitney Richardson. So, yeah, we've had her on the show before. We're going to have her on again to talk about her new podcast, but you can check it out everywhere. Just put in Political Evolution with Whitney Richardson and wherever you find podcasts, iTunes, everywhere you're looking. She's everywhere. So that's what's up. And we'll have her on to talk about that more as well. Lots of dates on this thing. Village at 24th and Lake coming up. Let's see where we're at. We're on October 26th, so we're already up by Trunk or Treat, I guess, is next noon to 3. So some stuff going on in on 24th and Lake Street area, the Deuce, the Village. And there's a lot of sponsors here. Definitely check them out. Union for Contemporary Art, I see down there. Noma. I see a bunch of sponsors down here. It's kind of small writing, but they all teamed up to do these things here and have a whole roster of things to do here in November and December in the Deuce, 24th and Lake Street area. Black Business Market coming up, Small Business Saturday, Black Business Market. Christmas in the Village, of course, is coming back. Black Business Market again. Kwanzaa in the Village is happening as well. Lots of stuff going on here on this one, 24th and Lake. Definitely take a look at it. I believe you can go to Empowerment Network. We'll have this calendar as well. I think they're a part of this. But also Union for Contemporary Art. I see down there Noma and
Vital part of this.
Vital's part of it. Yeah. So
Black
man, it's going down. So definitely check that out. We'll definitely talk more about that one. Before I pull any more up, buddy, do you have any haps for the people?
Yeah. We always want to give a shout out and give flowers and love to the sisters, Amber Ruffin and Lacey Lamar. Got a new book on the way. Yeah, the world record book of racist stories. So shout out to them. Again, it's called the world record book of racist stories. They'll actually have an event coming up on the 22nd at Symphony Space.
Yeah.
So the tickets are available. We'll post a link in the chat. You can also go to Friends of First Sky Omaha page for more information. But yes, this is the second follow-up book to what's the name of the first book? I don't even want to slaughter it. You'll never guess what happened to Lacey.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. I did all right. Didn't do too bad. But yeah. Shout out to these sisters, man. They're definitely killing the game, making. If I'm not mistaken, they made the best-selling book with the bestsellers list, the first book.
New York Times bestsellers list for the first book. So I'm quite sure the second book will get the same. And the second book is full of stories from other folks around Omaha.
If I'm not mistaken, you got a couple in there. If I'm not mistaken,
I don't know. I haven't read the sheet. They called me and asked me for a story. Definitely gave them some. So I'll see if we're in there. But I do know Michelle Troxclair might possibly have a story in there. So they did more. They went past Lacey, and they got stories from other friends and other people around Omaha, Nebraska. Definitely check that book out. It's going down for sure. Josh Take real quick says Gene Leahy Mall is doing it. It's fall, y'all. The Saturday from 4 to 6, long games, movie characters, trick or treating, and then playing Hocus Pocus on the big screen. If the weather holds up, it's going to be fun for all. Hey, Josh, I really appreciate you giving tickets away to that symphony, man. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Was under the weather. Was very mad. I was missing that for sure. But let me know how that went down as well. Let us definitely know. Ms. Erica Felt says, please come next Saturday to get some Sergeant Pepper's and Rotella spaghetti plates. Let the kids enjoy a show from the Omaha Children's Museum. Enjoy auctions and raffles, all to benefit my son and keeping this roof while I fight breast cancer. Join the group for more details. Shout out to Miss Erica Felt, and shout out to the people who organized this for her as well. Keep in mind, this is something you can do too. You got the meal train that we've been posting. I'll go ahead and post that again as well. That you can help her out by getting her sending some food over to her or bringing some over yourself. This also has a mechanism where you can just donate money so she can be able to pay the rent as well, and then you also can organize a thing just like this thing is happening next Saturday. Some Sergeant Pepper's pizza and spaghetti and all that. Bring the kids. Lots of stuff to do here. So she put the link in the chat right there. Hit the Facebook page and hit the Facebook event, and definitely check that out. And also Miss Wanda Lewis faithfully always puts in Miss Erica Felt's Cash App in the chat as well. So thank you. Appreciate that. Shout out to Brother Melvin Mohammed, who came to Benson Theater last night. Benson Theater last night was happening. He was dressed to the nines, fitting right into the elegance. It was a beautiful thing. Shout out to him on the desk there with the rest of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation crew in Opera Omaha, talking about that Malcolm X opera coming up. Great night last night for sure. If you want to check out how that went down, you can go to operaomaha.org and watch the live stream that of their YouTube channel, and watch the live stream on their YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Anything else I'm missing?
I don't have anything, but we just dropped the link for the Amber Ruffin tickets to that event in the chat, so definitely check that out. And of course, it's Wednesday, man, so we will have an extended Haps on Friday. If there's anything coming up this weekend that you want the people to know about, to look out for, definitely let us know. And we'll try to give us some love.
Yes, what's up? Appreciate everybody that is joining us. It's 9:02 right now. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Let me just double check and see if I'm missing anything here
in the chat.
In the chat too. Don't forget about the election dates. Just keep these dates in mind. Definitely check them out. If you need some help, reach out. Ask some folks. Like I said, I'm definitely going to take a few people with me and go through some of the stuff that's in the guide that the reader has out with the League of Women's Voters guide inside, and definitely check out what's going on. If you guys have any information on any of the judges, let's collaborate and get some background on some of that, and really try to help each other out and get there and do what we got to do. So we got about 2 more weeks, and that's really what's going on. That's really what's happening right now, for sure. So with that said, definitely thank you for joining us today. Sorry about taking Monday off. I was just way too out of it. Could not do it.
Man.
After foolishly taking 3 vaccines in one shot and 1 doctor's visit. But I'm not gonna have the flu or COVID or or pneumonia. So that's what's up. Buddy, you got any last words for the peoples?
Big shout out as always to Sister Kimara Snipes, to Sister President McKesson. Put some respect on their names for sure. History making P, politicking with P, and what's good in the hood with Kimara. Always a good time. So definitely thank you to them. Also, big shout out to all the chat chimers for joining the conversation as always. And those of you who are just ghost listening, chilling in the cut, enjoying the experience as well. We appreciate you. A big shout out to all the first and last time listeners. Thank you for joining us and choosing us, giving us a test. Hopefully we'll see you back soon. Same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And as always, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man. And thank you, Paul, as always, man. Thanks.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Josh Tech says, sorry you couldn't make it. It was unbelievable. You absolutely would have loved it. But I know you got to take care of yourself. I'll keep you posted on others. John Williams music. Ooh, yeah, that's my dude. In January, so definitely check him out. I appreciate that, Josh. Huh?
I just said okay.
Yep. Leah Keiser says, thank you for another great show. Thank you for joining us. Pop says, fantastic show. Thank you, First Sky crew and fam. See you on Friday. Thank you, Pops. Appreciate that very much. Miss Erica Pelt says, great show. Drink water, check your chesticles, and be good to yourselves. Definitely get your water on for sure. Drink water and drink clean water. Don't be drinking out the tap. The tap ain't what's happening. Tapping ain't what's happening. Hit them up. And also, Carolyn Jack says, I was a ghost today working. Okay, that's what's up, ghost listening. Appreciate you very much. Ariel's 402, shout out to you, my brother. Peace, peace, peace. You guys, you take care of yourself as well. Thank you very much. Peace always and blessings, family. Find your space, Brother Muhammad. You guys got some great maxims I take with me when we get off this show and go for the rest of the day, remembering the things that you guys say. So really appreciate it. Appreciate that very much. Thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you on these things. Don't forget, join Friends of First Sky Omaha. That's where the conversation happens when we're not on air. And if you miss any parts of this show, you can go back to YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook and check out the show in its entirety and add to the chat. We still go back and read those even after the show. So definitely keep the conversation alive. Tell a friend, spread the word, and be good to yourselves. We'll be here Friday. Again, we're going to have a special guest Friday from Opera Omaha that's going to come in and talk about that play, that Malcolm X play, or Malcolm X opera that's getting ready to happen. So definitely stay tuned for that and more to come. There's more people who we're going to be bringing on here in the next few shows to let you get to know some of the politicians that are running, people in seats that are running, and get some word on what's going on here for this election this next 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. And also check out Whitney Richardson's show. It's going down with her. You can go to iTunes or any place that you get your podcast and check out Political Evolution. We'll have her on very soon to talk about her show. And we love that we have the sister here, the sister show going on. So we can also, find some lanes, get some deeper conversations in politics if that's what you need over there with her. And then jump in with us on some discussion pieces. So everybody's finding their lanes and teaming up, and it's a beautiful thing. And we appreciate it. And you guys are a major, major part of it. So thank you very much. All the ghost listeners, all the chat chimers. You guys take care of yourself. We'll be out of here and see you Friday. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red